Oh man, I'm just so glad that this uneventful thing happened, so that I can really make a video and I can kind of profit off of it. Just really. Hey everybody, Pedophilia here, back with another unexciting, unoriginal, uneventful. Sorry I was gone there for a bit, but don't you worry. I'm back and ready to waste the last remnants of what teenage youth I still have intact on YouTube, just for you assholes. Alright, so I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. I'm so fucking late to the party that I'm not even going to be focusing on discussing the latest issue itself, but rather I'm going to use it as kind of like a building block. To really kind of establish why I think both the Paul brothers and YouTube itself is kind of, just joyfully and willingly stabbing itself in the back and kind of fingering the wound. The latest issue, of course, being Logan Paul's misadventure in Ching Chong Land, featuring Doki Doki Literature Club. Guys, I'm not actually racist though. I know we've gotten off at a couple bus stops, but I promise, just please, I need the ad revenue, please. I'm horny and my husband is dead. For those who aren't aware of the situation, which you probably are anyways, which makes this whole bit of dialogue we're sharing redundant for the moment. Logan Paul went into the good old sea of trees, as they put it, back in their homeland, and recorded a dead guy hanging off of a tree. To be fair, he didn't like go out of his way with the intent of making the entire video surfaced around the dead guy, but regardless, the fact that there was a body there and it was uncensored, there was no censorship on it whatsoever, it's not a very good sign. I wouldn't say showing a dead guy uncensored within itself is that bad. Like, it's disrespectful as hell, but I think the part where, the controversy really starts to kick in, where he's really starting to beg to be, just fucking jackhammered in the cock socket, is probably whenever he starts, cracking jokes at the dead guy. Real classy guy, he really has a lot of family values. It's kind of just like screaming to be fucking crucified online. Logan Paul, being the genius dickhead he is, continues throughout this video to kind of justify himself by saying, oh, but, this video is supposed to have good messages about not killing yourself. So there you go. Just like, how the fuck is this supposed to teach me not to kill myself? Is it like one of those things where it's like, if I kill myself, you'll come at my funeral and you'll make fun of my body too? You son of a bitch. From my understanding, he's removed the video now, but it still had its fair share of controversy. Whenever I initially planned to make this video, I was going to mention how this situation has been a bit blown out of proportion. Like, don't get me wrong, what Logan did was pretty fucking disrespectful. But it's not like this is the first time the Paul brothers have gotten into their fair share of controversy. I mean, for fuck's sake, their entire careers are built around it. It's their fucking O2. However, after thinking about it some, I kind of realized that this issue is bigger than what I had originally given it credit for. Because this isn't some bumbo-ass little YouTube drama scenario. This is the biggest stunt that has happened throughout either of the Paul brothers' careers, and while we can all just kind of laugh about it and move on, because we inhabit this site and we've come to expect that sort of thing from the site, the issue comes in whenever the rest of the world sees it. YouTube has far expanded beyond just some platform for content creation. It has become a default platform for entertainment, challenging the likes of TV only within the span of a decade. Yeah, you realize that's pretty fucking big, right? For many businesses, for a while anyways, it's become a pretty big goldmine as well. A lot of companies sought out to put their ads on the site because, internet. It's massive, it's expansive, it's new form of entertainment, and it's growing quite fucking big. We might want to shimmy our shekels up in those anal cheeks. Am I right, folks? You're a CEO of a big business. you invest a little money in the internet, more specifically YouTube, and then after you've made some big bucks, you can go home and you can beat your wife as much as you want because you're rich and you can get away with that. Fucking dude, sign me the shit up. I'm fucking ready. Let's go. Let's have the fucking go. This all changed, however, one day whenever I guess some cunt nuggets at Washington Post decide to accuse the biggest YouTuber at who is PewDiePie at the moment of this recording. They called PewDiePie a Nazi. That's the point I was trying to get at. I don't know why I didn't just flat out say this in the fucking recording. Just doing this now so I don't waste your fucking time. Thus marks the beginning of the adpocalypse. Something that to this day is still in effect and is something that affected the income of what was many people's regular jobs. In response, YouTube decided to kind of disassociate with PewDiePie and, you know, disown its child, so to speak. And ever since then, this has been a very consistent theme that YouTube has had with its other content creators who have had their fair bit of controversy. Here is where Jake and Logan come in. YouTube, in desperate need of a new poster child, noticed these shimmering, shiny stars in the distance and noticed how they were making a lot of revenue for the site. Because of this, YouTube started advertising the fuck out of them in an attempt to remain, the big rich boys of the entertainment industry. And, it makes sense at first. Like, why the fuck wouldn't you advertise the thing that's making you the most money right now? It's making you the most money. You want to keep making money as a business. However, the issue really starts to come in whenever you realize that YouTube only really focused on the fact that they were popular and they didn't really look into why the Paul brothers were popular. Because of all the Washington Post shit that I mentioned earlier that they successfully pulled off, it really kind of affected the worldview of YouTube and it really hurt the reputation of YouTube. Because of this, YouTube didn't really need a poster child that really pulled more bad press onto the site that would just only actively affect the site more. As I said earlier, the Paul's careers are built around controversy, and not good controversy either. It's not like it's not a situation where they're leading some sort of a revolutionary counter movement against society. Rather, they're just being really fucking annoying and they're being public nuisance. It's creating bad press for both the Paul brothers, but more importantly, the YouTube site itself. If you're just some casual human being who doesn't use YouTube, and you see people like the fucking Paul brothers burning shit in their backyard, making fun of dead bodies and shit like that, and you're seeing that this is a site that is gladly and willingly advertising these people to be the face of the site, you're probably gonna be a little mixed on the site itself. You're probably gonna be like, wow, that's fucking gay. And while I wouldn't say that the Paul brothers represent the content creators, that's really kind of the attitude that YouTube puts off.
Quite frankly, if you're a small creator, no, actually scrap that. If you're not Liza Koshy or Jake Paul, YouTube doesn't give a fuck about you. Doesn't give a fuck about me. Doesn't give a fuck about Tomska, PewDiePie, Marzia, PJ. It doesn't give a fuck about you unless you have TV potential. Okay?
Not only that, but it really starts to shine whenever you kind of look into everything. This is absolutely confusing for me because there were a lot of other YouTubers who have also been involved in controversy, the likes of which aren't even on the same level of damaging the platform as much as the Pauls might be responsible for. Yet they're still being basically disowned by YouTube because of the controversy they have been a part of. Take Rice Gum, for instance. Now, I in no way like him as a person or his content, but you gotta admit, he's probably making some decent revenue for the platform and all that stuff. However, whenever it came to YouTube Rewind 2017, they had to remove him from it because he got in the controversy with iDubbbz. Yeah, let me know when you see news outlets giving a shit about the petty disputes that happened during that fiasco. That type of controversy was the type of stuff that you'll really only see on YouTube. You're not gonna fucking see CNN or Fox talk about like today on fucking News 56, how flamed Rice Gum was whenever iDub roasted his asshole. Now, I could see a pretty decent argument for this. You could argue that, well, Rice Gum got bad publicity from that, and YouTube didn't want that type of publicity representing the site. And while I'd say, oh, that's a pretty fair point, that makes sense, you also have to take into consideration the type of publicity that has been with the Pauls throughout their entirety of being on this platform. It's about on the same level, if not then worse than Rice Gum's publicity. Something that I didn't really mention, but I probably should now since I'm editing this video anyways, is if you want a good example of YouTube's hypocrisy and blatant favoritism, then you can just look back at the recent Logan Paul controversy that unraveled recently. That video, while it was still up, was actually on the trending tab. It was on the trending page, and you might be saying to yourself, well, Exro, that's because it was trending. But you should also probably know that YouTube has and will manipulate the trending tab to their own advantage at times. They've been known to do that. That's why you'll see an iDubbbz video or a PewDiePie video say that it's trending, but if you go on the trending tab itself, it never actually shows this. That means YouTube, they had to approve that shit to go on the trending tab. Just, good job, YouTube. You're officially killing yourselves, you morons. This is exactly what I mean whenever I say YouTube is shooting itself in the foot. It's doing a lot of damage to himself, you know, by kind of ignoring its own rules. God damn it, YouTube. Fucking, the current CEO is a piece of shit. I don't know what to say. She just is. She's fucking bad at managing this shit. YouTube isn't entirely the best when it comes to judgment over what's controversial and what isn't. The example I've just stated being my backing to this. Something else that should be addressed is YouTube's inability to handle situations properly. Whenever something happens on the platform, something of a more controversial state that is, YouTube typically tries to do whatever it can to disassociate with that certain content creator and will often inflict new rules that are typically pretty harsh and censoring to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. But you know, this kind of creates a terrible relationship between the audience and the platform. Need I remind you about the YouTube Heroes shit? In that instance, YouTube sparked up even more controversy itself just trying to deal with the issue at hand. Fuck. Dog? Something that I was planning to talk about in my YouTube Rewind video, but I never got to it, was probably the fact that, you know, what's worse than YouTube's treatment of its content creators is probably the fact that there's never been any legitimate competition throughout YouTube's history. There's never been a moment where YouTube had to stop and think back to itself, oh shit, maybe we should actually, you know, try to please the consumer, try to actually do something in our audience interest instead. I think the closest thing we've ever gotten to competition is probably something along the lines of like Minds.com, which two things. One, firstly, nobody's even fucking heard of that site, and secondly, if it's a if it's competing against anything, it's gonna be Facebook. That's really all I had to say. I didn't really have much to say about the main issue at hand, because what's been said has already been said by every other YouTuber